come on in because we are doing a special video on the Married at First Sight, season 17, episode 6, the after party. The after party, y'all. You know, I had started watching it when it first came on, but I fell asleep. Just like I told you, I was falling asleep on that episode. But the comments were so hot this weekend. The comments were so hot and juicy. I decided, you know what? I got some time on Friday after Thanksgiving. I got a day off from work. So maybe I can sit and spend some time and talk about this. Maybe I can call an emergency family meeting. That's what I'm going to call this, an emergency family meeting. Because y'all are hot at auntie. Some of you are really hot at auntie. And I understand it. I do understand it. I think the word on the street is that I gave Orion, not Orion. Thank you for correcting me. Orion a too much of a pass this episode on the behavior he displayed towards Lauren. And you know, it's not like it's the first time I heard the complaint. Y'all know I get this complaint all the time that I am way, way too hard on the women and that I give the men a pass. I've heard it plenty of times. And although I think there's some room for me to listen to y'all, and there is absolutely always room for people to come closer to the middle. So there's room for me to come closer to the middle. There may be some room from some of y'all to come closer to the middle as well. I still want to stay true to my reason for doing my YouTube channel. And so I don't know if I'm going to always be able to make everybody happy. I really don't think I'm going to be able to do that, because if I do what I have to do to make everyone else happy, I probably won't do no more videos. I really probably won't do any more videos, because even though I'm sometimes sitting on the fence by myself, even though sometimes I'm viewed as a woman hater and a man lover, I've heard all types of things. I do believe that it's important to hear two voices out in the world. And I absolutely get what a lot of people talk about. Because remember, not only do majority of women watch these shows, my viewers are majority women. So typically I'm talking to women. I'm not talking to men. So I don't really find it useful to always sit here and talk about what men should be doing differently. I don't, because first of all, the men aren't even listening to me anyway. They're not listening to me. They're not my members. They're not my subscribers in any large numbers, and they don't really watch the shows that I watch, honestly, in large numbers. So I could sit here all day long and talk about what all the men should be doing differently. But really, honestly, y'all, my real passion is for women to understand men more so that then they can make different changes in their own behavior to get different outcomes. Because remember what Married at First Sight is all about. Married at First Sight are women and men. I do get that. But like I just said, I ain't got no man audience. Women who have said, I've been in the dating world and I haven't had much success at dating. I haven't been able to find the guy who whatever accepts me, loves me, that I love. They've come to Married at First Sight with a problem. That's why they're here. They came to these experts who have matched them up because what they said is, we haven't been able to do this on our own. We haven't had success on our own. So we've come here with a problem. So they're asking the mafs experts, and in a lot of ways, kind of what we are, we're kind of those surrogate experts out here, you know, quack experts, whatever you want to say. Some of us is better than these real experts. But anyway, we're sort of like this out here. And to be honest with you, I don't always want to have the position of protection. Because I actually think that's where where I differed with a lot of people on this particular episode. I heard what a lot of people were saying, and I think what they were asking more of me from in this particular episode. I know everybody wants more balance from me. I get that. But in this particular episode, I think what a lot of people were doing was they wanted me to provide more protection for Lauren for the fact of the way that Orion, what he said to her, which we're going to talk about that. And I think they also wanted me to hold Orion more accountable for what he said. That's kind of what I heard in the comments from a lot of people. I'm sure a lot of people, other people were saying different things, but what I heard overwhelmingly was, we want you to hold Orion more accountable. You gave him too much of a pass. And I want you to provide more protection to Lauren because you were too hard on her, just like Orion was too hard on her. That's what I heard. So this family meeting is going to be about me talking to all y'all to see how much closer to the middle can I come to all of you. Okay. And then it's also going to be about you also listening to me a bit more and seeing if there is any wiggle room for you to come closer to the middle. Because in the end, this disagreement that you and I are having right now, this is how any relationship would be. Marriage, anything. Which means that two people to solve problems can't stay where they are. I can't stay where I am and you can't stay where you are. We have to find a way where we meet somewhere, even if it's not at the exact same spot, but we meet somewhere and we can still be respectful. We can still be true to how we feel. But we also come to a place of understanding, even if that understanding doesn't mean 100% agreement, because I don't require 100% agreement for anyone in my life. Not my YouTube viewers, not my subscribers, not anyone in my family, none of that. But I do always maintain that we respect each other. So to help prepare myself for this family meeting, I did go back and watch the after party, the entire after party. And I did get some more information, y'all. I really got some more information, so I'm glad I went back and watched it. You know, I had watched the first 10 minutes of the after party, but I fell asleep. Like I told you, the show was boring. I fell asleep just like they did on that van. But the juicier part of the after party was actually saved for the last, I want to say, 5 minutes of the show. And that's what I was able to watch this second time around. And I want to say that at the last 5 minutes or 10 minutes of the show, Orion admitted that he has learned a big lesson. Orion admitted that he learned a big lesson with Lauren. Keisha Not Pulliam asked him when Lauren admitted that she had had sex 2 months ago, and his response to her was, well, I don't just want to give my self to any old body. Like, he's more particular. Keisha Not Pulliam called him on it. And Orion said, you know, I talked to my sister about it afterwards. And my sister said that I basically slut shamed Lauren. And that was a lot of what you guys were writing in the comments. And remember, I hadn't seen that last part. So when I heard you guys saying slut shamed, I'm like, okay. So I went back and watched it. So he said he learned a big lesson. But Keisha Not Pulliam also asked him why he said it. And he said, honestly, it was a big turnoff for me. So here we are. Here we are. Orion has learned a big lesson. And I want to know, what do you think the lesson is that he learned? Think about it. I think the lesson that Orion learned is that he can't actually say what he really thinks. That's what I think the lesson he just learned. I don't think anybody changed Orion's viewpoint or opinion of Lauren. I think what they did to Orion was they said to him, even though that's what you may think, you can't say it to a woman. So there's the protection. There's the protection of women. The protection of women is saying, listen, men, you can't slut shame women. That's the lesson the men will learn. But are you changing the men's actual mind, what they actually think? And I'm going to tell you the answer is no. Some of you may be satisfied with Orion just admitting he was wrong. He learned a big lesson. he shouldn't have slut shamed Lauren. Some of you may be satisfied with that, but I'm actually not. I'm not satisfied with it. You know why I'm not satisfied with it? Because then I don't know if there's a lesson for Lauren. And here's the thing. I'm going to go back to why we're here. We're here because Lauren has said she hasn't found a person. She hasn't been able to find a person out in the street. Now, I also learned on this Married at First Sight after party that there seems to be a theme this season. And it's quite a bit different theme from last season. Last season, if you remember, we had a lot of people talking about their mates. We had Aries, which I got on a lot. We're going to talk about that double standard we got going on this year. Had Aries, we had Clint, we had Gina, we had Kirsten, we had Shaq. We had all these people expressing their dislike for their mates very, very early on in the season. And what did we all do as viewers? We told them that they prejudged each other too soon, that they didn't give the relationship a chance, and they came on the show too picky. I'm going to tell you right now, and after watching this after party, and after hearing Emily talk, and also after hearing Claire talk, that I now believe, whenever I told y'all I was 50-50 with Brennan and Emily, I'm in the complete no column with Brennan on Emily. Brennan don't like Emily because she basically pretty much admitted it on the after party. And I don't believe that Cameron even likes Claire. And I think what this year has happened is, and Orion didn't get the memo. Was that don't criticize any of these ladies. Don't say anything negative. Just pretend like everything is okay, even though you already don't like them. And I think this is a result of last year. I think they watched the show, and so many people got on those old cast members for last season. Don't speak up. Don't say nothing. Just pretend like you like these ladies. Just pretend. Don't speak your truth. Don't tell them what you really don't like, and just go along with it. Because Emily said that I don't think Brennan likes Emily. And I told you in my last video that one of the alarming things about Brennan that I noticed on the last episode was that he really wasn't expressing a lot of care and concern for Emily. He wasn't protecting her. And when a man wants to be with you, his natural instinct would be to protect you. And when they were on this honeymoon, and she's walking around with a severely sprained wrist with swollen fingers and hands, Brennan didn't have any care and concern for Emily. He didn't seem like he was trying to protect her from even more further hurt. Because me, as just a friend of Emily, I would have told her, girl, you don't need to be doing no flyboarding. You might hurt your wrist even more. I would want to step in and protect her. And Brennan wasn't looking to do that at all. And Emily said some things in the after party, which tells me that Brennan's not interested in Emily. So Brennan is underground. He's not saying what he thinks, but he doesn't want Emily. Same thing with Cameron and Claire. Claire got on here and said after he saw Cameron tell the guys how he thought she was beautiful and she was wonderful, she said, wow, that's interesting that he said that to everyone, to the group, because he doesn't say it to me. So what she was saying was he was being one person in front of the camera, speaking glowingly of Claire, but behind the scenes, he was a different person, which tells me in front of the camera, he's actually pretending like he really wants to be with Claire, but his real true feelings is he doesn't like her. Then we get to the other couple, Beck and Austin. There was a part that came up in the after party where they spoke about the scene where Austin told Becca, hey, I didn't say that much because I wanted to downplay it because I didn't want everyone else to feel bad. Some of you said, well, you didn't think that Austin really liked Becca. I mean, we've all been wondering, wow, Austin is like the Pope. He can overlook everything. I was even been surprised at how much Austin is overlooking, right? Then on the after party, Keisha and I Palim asked Orion, well, when Austin was talking to the guys, did he overplay it, downplay it? And Orion, who we know is a straight shooter, is going to tell you exactly the way he saw it. He said he wasn't really up and he wasn't down. He was just right here in the middle. So there's now a case to be made out here that maybe even Austin is lying. That maybe even Austin is pretending to like Becca way more than he likes Becca. So now we have a scenario. If this is really what's going on, this season, that we have a lot of men who are pretending to like the women and not really telling them the truth, not being honest with them. Then what we have is we have Austin, we have Brennan, we have Cameron, all sitting over here pretending for the cameras that they really are giving these women a chance when they really don't like them. And then we have the one person over here, Orion, who is telling the lady, I don't like some of the things that you're doing. And guess who's taking the most heat? Orion. Orion, the one who is being the most truthful, even if his truth has hurt her. I agree with that. She probably feels slut-shamed. He's taking the most heat. So what do women want? Do women want the truth so that even if it becomes that you don't want that man, you maybe learn a lesson you can go on later in life and not repeat it with the next man? Because let me tell you what the lesson is for Lauren here. You should not be sharing your sexual history with any man. Period. Period. And in fact, Orion didn't even ask Lauren's sexual history. If you go back and watch the video, it was Lauren who first asked Orion, when was the last time you had sex? And then he told her it's been 1.5 years or 2 years. He never then turned around and said, how about you? He never even asked her. He didn't even ask her the question. But what she did was she volunteered the information. After he said 1.5 years, 2 years, he didn't even say, how about you? Because I went back and watched the scene. And what she said was, oh, well, with me, it's only been 2 months. And then we further find out, which who knows, maybe she told him on that day, that the guy that she had sex with 2 months ago was some random dude internationally when she was on vacation. For me, that made it worse. So now we're talking about you just told a man, let alone, and I'm not talking about some random man on the street. I'm talking about your husband. Your husband. You just told your husband that even though I knew I was in this process and I might potentially be getting married, because let me tell you, even though they weren't told that they were chosen 2 months ago, they knew they were pretty far in the process. They knew they were pretty far in the process because I'm sure this process of recruiting and interviewing probably started 6 months ago, 4 months ago. So the fact that just 2 months ago, that means she had made it through several rounds. So you're right. Did she know for sure? No, she didn't know for sure. But she knew that she had made it past round 1 and round 2 and round 3. She knew that she was still in the running when other people had been kicked out already. And then she tells us she went on a vacation and she had random sex with a stranger in an international country who, if something goes wrong, she can't even find the man. If something goes wrong, if a birth control method didn't even work, if a protection from an STD didn't even work, she has no way of even contacting the man. She has no way of contacting the man. And now she's married and she tells this story to her husband, and he's not supposed to have any type of reaction. He's not supposed to be turned off by it. And if he is turned off by it, what we're teaching him is that he can't even say anything about it. I'm all with you guys in that we need to protect women from so-called slut shaming by men. We do. But this is no random man on the street. This is not some man that Lauren is talking to at a bar. And she mentions, oh yeah, I was in Mexico and I had me a little fling. And then the man slut shames her. I would be all down that man's throat. This is a conversation she's having with her husband. And in my eyes, he has full right and authority to say to her, I don't think that that behavior is becoming of a wife of mine, and I'm unhappy. So that's why I'm going to disagree with all y'all, because Orion is not a random man. A random man deserves my protection for Lauren. I would protect Lauren against a random man. But Lauren and Orion are married. Just like I would give Lauren full authority to say the same thing to Orion. So where we are right now with Lauren, we've actually been here before. We've been here before where Lauren once passes as if she and Orion are just random people on the street versus the fact that she's Orion's wife. This is a big, big difference. Remember the first time that Lauren wanted a pass based on randomness. It was when they were on that tour bus and Cameron ignorantly said, we can't go too far off the reservation. I know a lot of you chimed in and said, well, you know, reservation and resort are interchangeably. I'm not even going to get on that point. I'm not going to get on that point. What I'm going to get on, because right now we're just talking about Orion and Lauren and Lauren's position on things. Lauren bust out laughing. That's what she did. She bust out laughing. In that moment, let's just go with, and what she said was, she said, oh, she laughed and she said, oh, Cameron meant to say resort, but he said the word reservation. Well, let's take both scenarios. Let's say that Lauren believes that Cameron just misspoke. He meant to say resort, not reservation. She laughed. I told you then that was inappropriate for her to laugh at that, given that she's the wife of Orion. And in that moment, she didn't know how her husband would feel. Does everybody hear me? She is the wife of Orion. She laughed at an ignorant comment by Cameron, and she didn't know how her husband would feel for her as a wife. Okay? Hear me out. Later on, when they had the conversation about it, and then she laughed at him again. This is the second laughter. When she says, I don't know why you're called Redskin. Now that I look at your face, I see why. And her excuse was, well, you gave the white man a pass. Why don't you give me a pass? Because he's not my wife. You hear the pattern? I can have standards for my wife, and I can have standards for my husband that I may not have standards for everyone else. And I thought this show was about being married. If y'all just want to talk about men, random men out on the street, whether or not they can slut shame you, I'm with you 100%. No man has the right to comment on a woman's sexual history who's some random man in the street. But I'm going to tell you what. I don't agree with you when it comes to husband and wife. I don't agree with you. I'm sorry to say that a husband has more liberties in a marriage and so does a wife. So that's where I'm disagreeing with you. And the fact that Lauren keeps believing that she isn't going to be held to a higher standard as a wife tells me that I'm not for sure she needs all the protection that she's getting. What she actually needs to do is learn. She needs to learn. And that's what I'm here to teach. That type of behavior isn't something that you want to share with any man that you think you may want to be with, date, or marry. There is my lesson. Women, if you are interested in a man that you want to date, marry, to like you, you should not be sharing your sexual history with him, period. If he asks you, you say you want to keep it private. That's what you say. You do not want to answer, whether it's high, low, medium, or whatever else. It's your private business. Keep it to yourself. And what's so ironic about this sort of family disagreement we're all having right now is last year, if we're going to say that we are slut shaming Lauren, then you know what we did to Aries last year? Maybe a lot of people owe him an apology. Because in the end, I know that Aries' situation last year was he had sex the night before the wedding. And Lauren, people can say, well, hers was 2 months before she knew had we chosen. But that's not really what we're arguing about here, people. We're not arguing about or disagreeing about, because we're really not arguing, but we're not disagreeing about the time frame, right? That's not what we're disagreeing about, right? We're not disagreeing about how much time is enough time. What we're disagreeing about is, did Orion have the right to say to Lauren what he did say to her? That's really what we're talking about. Because in the end, it's anyone's standard to say whether or not they believe 2 months is okay or the night before. That's a person's personal standard. But where the shaming comes in, which is all of you have told me, the shaming comes in is when you take what you think, you open up your mouth and you tell the person about it. And that's what we did to Aries last season. I guess we slut shamed Aries because we thought one thing about it and then we opened up our mouth and we told Aries about it. I know I did. So I guess I slut shamed him too. But I didn't hear no one protecting Aries last season. I didn't hear no one when I was slut shaming Aries. I didn't hear no one coming down my throat saying, you shouldn't be a slut shaming Aries. I'm not ready to fully pick up the mantle of protecting Lauren because maybe different from you guys, I think there's something deeper going on. I do with Lauren. I do. But what I do want is I want to see Lauren win. I want to see Lauren get what she wants in life. She says she wants a marriage. She wants a husband. And so I am going to tell her that based on what I've seen from her, I can see how it's derailing her. I can see how it's not allowing her to get where she's going. And so honestly, in my videos, I would rather spend my time telling her where I think she's making a lot of big mistakes and a lot of bad mistakes. Because like I told you, my audience is mostly women. Mostly women watch this show. And honestly, my plight in life is not to help men in dating, it's to help women in dating. So when it comes to that, like I said, I'm not for sure I'm going to be able to give all of you or some of you what you want. And that you want me to always protect the woman, even when I see that the protection is harming her long term. Short-term protection versus learning your lessons so you can go on to get what you want in life. We may have driven all these men underground, women, because now it looks like we're trying to drive Orion under the ground so he can't really say what he thinks about that behavior of Lauren. We can see Brennan's underground. He's not going to say what he really thinks of Emily. We know that Cameron is possibly underground because he's saying one thing here and another thing over here. And now I'm looking at Austin side eye saying, I guess he really isn't the Pope and he really isn't into Becca as much as he is, and he's underground. That doesn't help you ladies. Because now what you ladies are wandering around doing is you don't really know why you're not making these successes in dating, because what you've really just done is you just shut the mouths of the men. That doesn't help you. It doesn't help you. Another common thing I was hearing in my comments was that although there are a lot of people who understood Orion's position, what they felt was that he was still too hard on her, that he didn't have to bring as much heat as he did, and that they also felt like he can dish it, but he can't take it. That was another thing. Well, if he's going to dish it to Lauren, then he needs to be able to take it. And I think when they said he can't take it was when they said that he was so upset when Lauren laughed in his face about being a redskin, and he said he needed 2 hours to calm down. And they felt that was a moment when they felt he couldn't take it. Okay. So I want to talk about this because I feel like this is a double standard. I'm going to tell you something. If I'm sitting across from a person, and I think I used the analogy before as a black woman, and I had a man sitting across from me saying, I don't even know why they call black people monkeys or darkies. And then he looks at me and he starts laughing and go, oh, now I see why they call you darky. I just looked at your face. Now I understand why they call you monkeys. I just looked at your face. I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm going to need more than 2 hours to calm down. I'm going to need more than 2 hours. So I don't know if it's called not being able to take it because you needed 2 hours to calm down. And I'm going to say it again, not only from a stranger saying it to you, but a person who you now married to. I think a lot of people are missing this point, that there's no added level of accountability when you're married. So not only do I have to get over that comment from a person random on the street, now I need to get over it from my wife. And you're telling me that because I need 2 hours to get over it, you need to get over it. That sounds like Lauren when she told him to get over it. I don't get 2 hours to get over being called a darky or a monkey. I'm too sensitive. If my husband that I just got married to calls me a darky or a monkey, that makes me too sensitive. I don't agree. Sorry, I don't agree. Because now remember, this isn't the first time Lauren has laughed at this man. She laughed at it on the tour bus. Now she laughed at him again in front of his face. Hear what I'm saying? Lauren has now laughed at this man 2 times. I'm going to keep going. He sucked it up the first time on the tour bus when she laughed. When she said it to his face again, he said, I need 2 hours. Okay. But he came back. After 2 hours, he calmed down and he came back. Then we have Lauren being in another position where she's the history lesson teacher, where she wants to exert her superiority and knowledge over him. She wants to give him a history lesson on black people, hair bonnets, laying edges. She's the teacher. She's the instructor. He's the student. And it's funny that he's the student because Orion has told Lauren, I've never dated someone inside of my race. I've always dated women outside my race. So in actuality, it is Orion who has the history of dating outside of his race. It is Orion who has the history of learning about different cultures. It is Orion who has learned how to be in a relationship with someone in a different culture and how to navigate that road. But we have Lauren, who admittedly has said she has never dated outside of her race. She's never done it, has no history of it, but yet she's the teacher. She's the teacher on how we should blend our cultures, even though she has never done it. So once again, Lauren has put herself in the position of superiority. Then we have Lauren once again initiating the conversation. Okay? But what did Orion do? He let her take the lead. He said, you want to teach me? You want to teach me how to lay edges? You want to teach me about bonnets? That's fine. I'll go along with you putting yourself in the position as teacher. I'll sit here and learn from you. But I told you guys something about Orion on the very first time episode. I told you people mistake Orion as weak. They look at his frail body. They look at his thin frame. They look at his mannerisms. And I think they think him as weak. And I think that's what Lauren did to Orion too. I think Lauren believes that through various methods, conversation, intellect, I think she believes she's superior over Orion. And I believe she thinks wrong and inaccurately. Then we got Lauren asking him about his genitalia. Is it groomed? What you got going on down there? If we want to talk about double standards, flip that conversation. And if that is a man asking a woman, how do you groom yourself down there? Is it nice and neat and in order? We would be appalled. We would be appalled. We would be all over that man asking that woman, how do you keep your kitty cat? Do you keep it clean? Do you shave it? Do you cut your hairs? Do you do this? We would be appalled. But Lauren gets to talk about it, and there's nothing said about it. But once again, Orion rolled with it. He rolled with it. If this was flipped, we'd be having a whole different conversation. If this was Orion asking Lauren and asking her about her kitty cat, and if she keeps it clean, does she do this, we would be having a completely different conversation. Then we have Lauren once again initiating the conversation about sex. She's saying, you know what? I'm starting to feel like I can imagine being with you. What I would like, I love skin on skin contact. Okay, Lauren. Lauren is making a move. Lauren is asserting herself. Lauren is broaching the conversation before he's necessarily broached the conversation. She's taking the lead once again. Once again, she's taking the lead. He says, okay, Lauren, let's talk about it. How does that begin? She says, well, it begins with you performing fellatio on me. Didn't we hear this last year with Aries? Didn't someone ask Aries, what would it look like with Jasmine when they first got together? And didn't Aries say it would begin with her on her knees? Weren't we appalled by that? Weren't we outraged that he said that? And what is the difference between what Lauren just said when she said, just because she used a good word, fellatio, it's the same thing. It begins with you submitting to me on your knees and performing oral sex on me. That's what Lauren just told him. That is how our intimacy is going to begin. Our intimacy is going to begin. Our first night together, first time being together, is going to be, Orion, with you on your knees performing fellatio on me. What is the difference between what Aries said last year? What's the difference? But once again, Orion rolled with it. He rolled with it. He said, that's okay. I'm a giver. How do you like it? She goes on to start telling them how she likes it. She says, can we introduce some sex toys into the bedroom? Already, Lauren? Can we just first have some basic sex? Can you guys just get to know each other first before you introduce the toys? No, Lauren wants to take the lead. But remember, this is the one you all want to protect. I'm trying to make Lauren learn, because we already know this marriage ain't gonna work. We know this marriage is not gonna work, and I'm here to teach something to her, to make her learn, so she learns that, yeah, it's not okay for random men to slut shame you, but girl, this conversation that you having is not gonna get you to the altar. So he says, yeah, I got a few toys of my own already in the bedroom. Really? How many? He says, well, he finally gets around and tells her, you know what, I haven't had sex in 1.5 years. Like I said, he never asked her how long it was going to be. She volunteered it. Because you know what else she wanted to show? Wow. I'm superior in knowledge about Black history. I'm superior in knowledge about interracial relationships. I'm the superior one in sexual, because I like to explore. I like to have sex toys. And then just because you haven't had sex in 1.5 years, I'm here to let you know I had it last month with a random dude internationally in Mexico that I don't even know his last name. And hopefully I didn't get pregnant or catch no STD, because if I did, I don't even know where he is. I can't find him. And she threw in there she wanted a red room. A red room. I had to look it up, y'all. I didn't even know what it was, to be honest with you. Then I realized it's the same thing that Ready to Love, all my Ready to Love viewers talking about with Marvin last season. I didn't know that's what it's called. It's called a red room. And she said, oh, we can have that too. And he says, oh, okay. But the minute he says to her, listen, I know you exerting all this superiority over me. You laughing at me in front of my face twice. Okay? People calling me names. You think it's funny. You laugh at me. You think you my educator, my teacher in Black history, even though you never even dated someone outside your race, but I have. That's fine. You think you superior there. You try to sound all smart about my own culture, and I keep telling you, you don't know what you're talking about. But then when I try to tell you, you don't know what you're talking about, you get mad. When I need 2 hours to walk away and just calm myself so I don't blow up on you, then you tell me I'm weak and I don't know how to take it. But when I say something like, hey, you know what, it's a turnoff for me that my wife just had sex with a random man internationally in Mexico and she don't even know his last name, that's a turnoff to me. Now I'm slut shaming my wife. Do women need protection out here from random men that may do that to them in the street? They do. They do need protection from men like that. But that's not what we're dealing with here. We're dealing with a woman who is a wife and a man setting some standards and saying, that's not attractive to me. That's not attractive to me. And now what we've done to Orion is we've sent him underground. His sister sent him underground because he said his sister was the one that told him what he did. And if you remember in the very beginning, one of the things Orion said about his mom and his sister was that he didn't like to be told what to do. And he felt that his sister and his mother were domineering. He roundabout said it, and that they snuffed out his viewpoint as a man. That's what he talked about. He felt as if his viewpoint as a man couldn't live in his world where it was dominated by women. It's the silencing of him. He didn't like it. And you know what it didn't do? It still didn't change his perspective. All it teaches him is to be silent. Well, that doesn't help women. Because women, you actually need to know what people think of you when you have these conversations with them. Because if you don't know what they're really thinking, you don't know how you're messing up your dating world. And in the end, isn't that what we're here for? In the end, aren't we here to get Lauren married? Isn't that what we're here for? Aren't we here so Lauren can do the things she needs to do to be married and to be happy to marry? And if we're going to run around and tell Lauren, girl, you should be able to talk about your past sexual history, no matter if it was with random international people if you want to. He's the problem. Your husband's the problem. He shouldn't have slut shamed you. Then she ain't going to learn no lessons. She's not going to learn no lessons. So am I coming to the closer to the middle with y'all? I'm going to say I am. Because what I'm going to say to you guys is I'm going to agree with you that what Orion said to Lauren when he told her it's a turn off to hear when and how you just had sex. I'm going to agree with y'all when you say that's a form of slut shaming. And I'm going to say, I agree. I agree. I'm going to come closer to the middle. But here is where I'm going to diverge. Where I'm going to diverge is that where do I want to spend my time and my energy? Because Lauren is a wife. She's a wife. She's not a random girl on the street. And I'm not saying that wives don't need protection, but I'm going to say that Lauren needs to learn a lesson too. And the lesson that Lauren needs to learn is that even though men may not say it, they think it. They think it. They think it. So you can keep running around if you want to, saying whatever you want to say, and then getting mad at people when they tell you what they really think. But it's not going to help you in the dating world. It's not going to help you. And in the end, if you just want to be right, then be right. If you just want to be right, then be right. Because right now, that's what it's coming down to. Do you want to be right that was a form of slut shaming of Orion to his wife? Yes. Yes. But where does getting right get you? Even if it's not with Orion, even if you don't want Orion to be your husband, where does that get you for the next man that you want to be your husband? Are you going to do the same thing? Are you going to do the same thing because you right? Even though right doesn't get you to where you want to be and where you want to go, will you stand on right the next time the man comes into your life, the man you want to be with? Will you stand on your correctness? I sure hope not. I sure hope that you won't stand on your correctness. Because if you keep standing on your correctness, that it was wrong for Ryan to say what he said to you, then you won't get to where you really want to go to. You really, really won't. I don't think this marriage is going to last between Orion and Lauren. And to be honest with you, I wonder where this will go with Lauren, period, in her dating world. When this couple first came on, I told you, I thought it was a good match. Remember, y'all, I was 10 toes down for this couple. I was like, they're going to make it. Because what I said to you is I actually think it will be hard to match Lauren with an African-American male. I said it, and I still believe it. And in fact, I said it before, and I believe it even more. I believe it even more. Because one thing, because I am Black, and I've dated Black men, I'm married to one, I'm in the culture, I can see, and I know the mindsets of Black men, I know a lot more, I can see how a lot of them won't be as open to what Lauren spits. That's why I said in the beginning, I'm not even sure if her match is an African-American male. In fact, I'm starting to believe that Lauren might have been Alexis. I'm starting to believe that Lauren's match, the way she wants to dominate a man, just like I said with Alexis last year when she was with Justin, the way that she wants to dominate a man in these areas that she constantly tries to do, know everything, be superior, be competitive, be the aggressor in the bedroom, sexually, all this male energy. We found out with Alexis that she decided and realized that maybe her best mate, her love, wasn't a man, but that it might be a woman. And I'm all for it. I'm for you finding the love where you can find it and works best with you. Because I too believed in that season that Alexis was going to have a problem being with a Black male. I knew that there was going to be a problem. And I'm starting to see the same signs with Lauren. That maybe in the end, her best match isn't a Black male. And maybe we find out it isn't a male at all. Maybe it's another female. Maybe that is going to be the path that maybe she needs to turn to after this. Like I said, I'm for people finding what they want and the path to get there. Maybe Lauren is barking up the wrong tree. Because the behavior that she wants to have, what she wants to do, who she wants to be, she could be whoever she wants. She could talk any kind of way she wants. But that may not be suited for the type of person she says she wants. And therein is going to be her problem. She can stay right all she wants to. But is it going to get her to where she's saying she wants to go? or does she need to change where she wants to go? Anyway, that's it, y'all. Talk to y'all later. Thanks for coming for the emergency family meeting. Bye.